Welcome to Angels, Autism and Energies. Again, this is Kendi and Mary. And Kendi, where did we leave off last time? Were we going to do the telepathy and autism? We have spiritual, we really did touch base with the spiritual and autism. To the kids that are not potty trained yet, some of the parents, they have 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. Okay, when was Kenny? What you said, I believe, off camera about keeping up with it, but Kenny was about 5 years old.
He was about 5, yes.
Okay, so you know what that's like.
Yes, I do. Yeah, sure. With Ken, I mean, I'm just being honest, he was having so many seizures at the time still that that was our primary concern. And it may actually be why it went so well with him. Not that it didn't take months to, it could have been a year or two. You know,
Right.
I can't remember, that's been 39 years. But our focus wasn't on it.
Right.
We had other things we were focusing on, and like I told you off camera, I think my opinion on some of those things is going to be very challenging for some people because I don't really believe as much in the traditional type of treatments that, you know, not that I'm against them, but most people
For potty training?
or for anything, but for potty training as well.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you know, I believe a lot of getting something to change in your outer reality is a big part of that is changing your inner reality about that situation.
Okay.
And if you take potty training for instance, you know, you have the physical aspect of it, you know, and my belief is that when you decide that you're going to potty train a child, you put them in underwear, underpants, you know, because then they can feel what it feels like to be dirty, wet, you know, so they can distinguish the difference between being dry, because those diapers, you know, they suck everything up and they are pretty much dry, you know? And that's the physical aspect of it, but, you know, to approach it from a, I guess you would call it an energetic or an energetic aspect would be what part of that problem are you having a problem with? Okay, so your child's not potty trained yet.
I think it's extra work, more diapers. It's just they eat more, so there's just more in that diaper. I know because, like I said, we're too dealing with an autistic grandchild, and then the losing the hopelessness because they've been trying for almost 2 years off and on.
Yes,
and you're saying it's actually the parent or the people around them kind of need to change how they're feeling about this in order to make the child make that change in some way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it almost goes into, you know, you hear about, you know, law of attraction and manifesting, and some of that is hokey, but there are, you know, the hermetic principles, you know, which are laws of the universe, and, you know, we all know, you know, what you resist persists, and what we grasp runs away from us, you know, goes away from us, and I find it to be true with these individuals as well, just as it is with us in our relationships. You know, there's the old saying about if a girl really likes a guy, then he doesn't really, you know, that isn't really interested in her, but as soon as she decides she doesn't want anything to do with them, then he
becomes interested.
Right. You know?
Okay. Right.
So when you take a thing like potty training, for instance, what is it inside of me? I'm just saying that if I had a 5-year-old now, okay, versus when 39 years ago when I was beginning
and
of
Kenny
this road.
was seizuring, like you said, so it was actually the back burner situation.
Back burner situation. And I had his brother was 18 months younger than him. So when it came time to potty train his brother, I thought, well, I'll just try it with Ken too. I'm going to do it with one. I might as well, try it together. And it worked, but again, it was a back burner type thing. But at this point, 39 years down the road and through many, many things, if I was going to approach something like that, and I was a year into it or 6 months into it, and I was very frustrated, I would say, what is it in me that needs this so badly?
Okay.
I mean, how terrible would it be if my child never became potty trained? And a lot of people go, oh, that's so negative.
Right. But you lost Ken on so many, didn't lose him, nearly lost him.
Sure.
But
hear me out on this. Let me finish it. Okay, so that sounds really negative. Like, what is it in me that, what is not okay with this? And what if my child never became potty trained? What you're doing by contemplating that is dissolving the resistance in you, the resistance you have to that reality.
Okay, right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And when you dissolve the resistance, you'll find the reality changes.
Correct.
Switches.
Right. So above, so below, so within, so without. Yeah. Right. Understand that. Hey, for any of you viewers out there that have been dealing with this or have dealt with it, please, if you can, put your story in the comments below. Now, there's something, I want to tell you, there's so many things, Kendi, we could be all over the board with this. Yes. But when it comes to telepathy and autism, which honestly, we touched on spirituality and autism, which I and I know I'm going to have people say, no, that's not true, Petrella. Well, here, I do feel that there's that invisible line of information that I call spirit, okay, between whether it's the telepathy between an autistic child and the mother, which they've done studies from Harvard no less, proving that this is true. And we hear stories all the time like this. Kendi, what's your thoughts on telepathy and autism?
Well, I believe it's 100% there. I mean, and I think most of the people, the viewers who might have someone, a mother who has autistic children, I invite you to consider it and kind of pay attention to it, because if it's not in your awareness, you might not even notice that it's been happening. And you'll slowly it's a new belief system for a lot of people, so they would have to first become aware of the possibility and then begin to observe and watch to see if it's there. But and with myself, I actually became aware of the possibility before I ever heard that they were doing the studies. And if anyone ever wants to learn more about that, it's fascinating. And I actually haven't watched, they have many podcasts, I think, and they have, I don't know how many episodes there are, but it's called the Telepathy Tapes.
Okay. Yeah, you sent them to me. Yes.
And it was a woman who, and I don't know what spurred her, I think she says in one of the beginning episodes why she decided to do these studies, but she saw evidence to believe this was true, so she did the studies. And she would put, like, the mother in one room and the child, or individual, I should say, with autism in another room, and would show a picture to the mother, and the individual with autism would draw it. They weren't even close to each other, and it just repeated over and over and over again. And with
it was
complete
so
accuracy.
detailed that they didn't even know, the mother didn't know what the symbols were. The child didn't know what the symbols were. They had other scientists say, here, show her these symbols.
Yes.
And that was also what was, it was more than a coincidence. So I too believe the telepathy and autism. And it could be their higher level of awareness.
I believe they totally, definitely have a higher level of awareness. And I want to refer that back to the potty training, if I could.
Yeah, please. This is our channel.
Yeah, I guess we could do whatever we want. Huh? So, if that's true, which I believe that it is, and so do a lot of other people, although it's just now coming into the awareness of our society, and that child has telepathy, and you want to potty train them, can you see that if they can hear this in your mind, all the frustration, oh, for heaven's sakes, if you just get this,
right,
it'd be like, we all know how, like with the 2-year-old, if they know that you don't want them to have it, then they want it. If they I'm a hand talker, so I'm sorry.
No, I am too, Zico.
Okay.
Yeah.
But see, that knowledge, what that can do for you is them, if they do, which I believe they do, have telepathy, can you see how changing the inner will affect the outer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
As within, so without.
And also, we do a lot of this. The why this channel is here is because we discuss these things over coffee. And we said, hey, we just need to do a channel, because if we're discussing this. Okay, so with that, I've noticed that when the primary caregiver is going through a dark night of the soul, major emotional upheaval, again, like this telepathy, this invisible connection, the child on some level responds, reacts to this emotional upset.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen evidence of that throughout Ken's entire lifetime.
Okay.
Without ever having heard about it anywhere else. And of course, like you said before, which only tells you how old I am, there was no internet back then. So
yeah. That's amazing. So you did almost all your research was in the library.
Yes. So that makes perfect sense, though, because later we evolved to know that an autistic child regulates their nervous system through or with the mother or full-time caregiver, whoever that might be.
Right.
So if you're dysregulated if I'm dysregulated as the parent, then that individual with autism has nothing to anchor solid.
Right.
Neurologically stable to anchor to, and that is how they stabilize their nervous system. So it would stand to reason, if I was going through a really difficult time emotionally, maybe a trauma, it could be a death, it could be anything,
right,
it is going to affect them.
Exactly.
So, and again, I refer back to the potty training. So that's how, sorry, but that is how we can affect them through us.
Yeah. Right. It's that emotional connection.
It is. You don't have really much choice.
It's really just there.
And here we are.
What are some of those other questions that we didn't really get to? Is there anything else that we didn't really address? And thank you guys for the questions. Oh, judgment.
Yeah.
Judgment. Oh my gosh. Look. Whew, I got to tell you, we deal with this. Lately, I don't want to use names because she'll get mad at me. But she will say to me, people judge me when, our autistic child has a meltdown. And it's true about the judgment. Sorry for that break in the tape. Hopefully we could get this joined together, but our next episode is going to be on judgment. Kendi, do you want to,
Yeah, I think there's a whole lot to be said for judgment. I think as a parent of an individual with autism, a lot of times people do judge us most frequently.
And the child.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people judge what they don't understand, for one. But I think most importantly is usually judgment has nothing to do with us. it is usually about the person doing the judging.
Mhm.
You know.
So we'd like to hear from you guys. So any questions or where we could bring the next topic into, please leave it in the link below. And with that, I want to say God bless you all. Kendi?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Mary, for having me on your channel.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kendi.
So.
Okay, God bless you.